What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Junkyard. We're on episode number 11, and the last episode we had a guest, a very special guest, our friend Jordan. Very informative. If you guys haven't checked that one out, we strongly suggest that you check it out. He has a lot of great tips for starting businesses and stuff like that. But we're gonna go ahead and start off this podcast, and we just wanted to talk about something very controversial. I guess controversial to most people's eyes. We want to talk about religion. And we basically want to kind of explain our side of it, how we found ours, possibly discussing other religions and their viewpoints, to whatever knowledge we have available towards those religions. Of course, we don't mean any offense. But yeah, I basically want to start off with that question. How would you say you found your religion?
So for me, I've been into Christianity ever since I was born. My mom started off as a Catholic. And then, funny enough, so this is the way that we basically got introduced to Christianity. So my cousin's mom used to be very involved with the party scene, right? And then I forgot exactly how my uncle and my aunt met each other. But all I know is that my uncle was very heavy involved with the church. And my aunt liked, party and have fun. Because they were both very, very young when they met.
Those are really different stories.
Yeah, no, crazy. But, opposites attract, bro. Sometimes that's how it works. So basically, he said, hey, listen, come to church with me. She goes, if I'm not mistaken, my cousins can correct me on this, but he's like, oh, can you come to church with me, this and this and that? And she said, I'll go if you go out partying with me. And whatever, he went out partying, and then, she obliged and then did the same thing. And then, well, not obliged, that's the wrong word. But basically, like, she said yes, right? She said yes to the proposal. And whatever, they eventually started going to church little by little. And then they told my mom about it, because my mom used to be Catholic, and also converted my grandma as well. And then ever since I was a little kid, I've had pictures of when I was like 6, 7, 8 already going to church. But then I stopped going due to like personal reasons that I don't really want to talk about. But ever since that, my belief has been, pretty concrete, pretty solidified. And every time, when I see everything that life has to offer, you see God in, everywhere you go. You see it in the people that you hang out with. You see it in nature. You see it in your blessings. You see it in your adversity. And honestly, I don't really see myself changing my faith in God at all. Just because I've already, I don't know, there's too much evidence of God rather than the evidence of no God, if that makes sense. But yeah.
When it came to your family, I guess, being that foundation for your religion, would you say that to this day they still teach you lessons? That they still teach you lessons about, when you're going through a struggle or something like that? Like, of course, as Christians, we like to go to the Bible for advice during our struggles. Me, I like to specifically search up keywords in regards to what trouble I'm going through. So, like, for instance, if you were going through a certain thing, let's say stress in general, have you ever had a conversation with any of your, like, cousins, with your uncles, with your aunt, mom, dad, that, like, after such a conversation, you were like, you know what, bro? That's true. Like, how could I not see it that way? You get me? How could I not see it that way? Or I'm at least enlightened more coming out of it.
So this was like a conversation that I had with my mom, where basically, like, when I was younger, I used to worry a lot about, being criticized or being afraid of, like, what other people would think, or, like, other people liking me and stuff like that. But then, like, after having a long conversation with my mom, if you revert back to Jesus Christ himself, he was a person that was ridiculed by, his own people. He was a Jewish man that was condemned by his own Jewish people. And if someone who's as grandiose and omnipotent and omnipresent, as Jesus is, and still gets condemned and dies and gets crucified, bro, there's no one who's too good. Who's too good that's not gonna get criticized at all. You feel me?
Yeah, like today we're filming on MLK Day, man. And one thing about that is that when I was a little kid, I was taught that I should be a good man when I grow up. When I should be a good kid, I should follow what my mom says, what what my grandpa says, my grandma, and bro, like, I hold them near and dear. But when I was 4 years old, my mom would spit the truth to me, like anything. Honestly, growing up in general, my mom would tell me anything straight up. Like, I could have been 5, and she'll tell me straight up, that's what that is. Something that you'd explain to an adult. And of course, I don't hold her to that. I actually value that she told me things like that.
Yeah.
Because when I was 4, I asked her, I was like, hey, what happened to Martin Luther King? And she goes, somebody killed him.
How old were you?
I was 4, and I had recently learned about him, like, and what he did, and how he basically made, you know, every race equal in another man's eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
there wasn't any segregation in any of that.
No, yeah, like he said, I'd rather, if I'm not mistaken, I could be misquoting, but he's like, I'd rather, what do you say? I judge the people not by the color of their skin, but of their character. But of the content of their character.
Yeah, the content of the character.
Yeah.
And bro, like, the thing about that was, I learned early, like at an early age, you could be a great man, bro, a good man. You can do your best. You can do your best under God, even. But there'll always be criticism. It goes back to your point, bro. Like, you'll never win in this life because there's always evil men wanting to do evil things. And that's a man of peace, bro. That was a man of peace. That was a man of character.
Yeah.
That was a man that saw more than just color. He transcended the quota, like the actual, like, I guess what was going on at the time. You get me? And
Let me ask you something. What would you say is cause your mom doesn't believe in God, right?
She's honestly, bro, I love my mom to death. I'll do anything for her. But she's something new. She's something new in my eyes. Let me tell you, she's like multi-religious, bro. She's
Okay.
Whenever she needs God, she calls on God. Whenever
She's
she
a
needs
spiritual person. Let's put it that way.
Cuando quiere Buddha, when she wants Buddha, she's gonna call on Buddha. When she needs Santeria to solve a problem, hey, she's gonna start calling on Santeria.
Yeah.
And I told her it don't work that way.
So let me ask you, what, if you can recall, what point in your life genuinely solidified your belief in God? Like, yo, I know God is for real because of this scenario.
For me, I guess like the main point of what like solidified God in my life and you know, it really brought me strength was when I prayed. Like, there were multiple times in my life that I was honestly supposed to get the short end of the stick. My family was honestly supposed to get the short end of the stick. Like, I remember my grandpa, he had back problems, and he couldn't walk. And the doctors even told him there's a possibility, a high chance that you're not gonna be able to walk after the surgery. But man, I got on my knees and I prayed. You know, I was there for my grandpa. I thank God that the doctors came through and did a really great job. And you know, to this day, he still walks. He doesn't run, he doesn't sprint, but you know, as old as he is, he's still not gonna be doing that. But thank God he still walks to this day. You know, I love my grandpa. Then my grandma, she wasn't supposed to be looking through her eyes. She wasn't supposed to be walking either because she had knee problems, and she overcame those things too, bro. Thank God that every doctor that we got was very skilled, very informative, and you know, under God's grace, you know, they held their hands when they were helping her out and stuff like that. And yeah, bro, there's many situations in my life that I can look back on and look back with a smile because of God, because of my faith, because of that will that it gave me.
No, for sure. So we talked about how we got into God and what solidified our belief. But now that, you know, our belief is already concrete, could you take an estimate as to when you feel like the end times might happen? Or do you think that there are any signs that it's already currently, like, we're already in the process or anything like that?
Honestly, bro, like, to tell you the truth, somebody racing or something, I don't think too hard about those things. I should think about them from time to time, and I should honestly get closer to that verse of the Bible, Revelations, because honestly there are a lot of evident things. There are a lot of signs. I agree with you. There are signs of end times, and you know, at the end of the day, one thing that I like to live my life by is through love. You get me? When society in general is crumbling and degeneracy in general is at an all-time high, you know, you look at these people and you look at the things that they've been through. Typically they always have a history in their family or mental illness in their family, or they just want attention.
Yeah. And
you know, when I see those things, I see that media has influenced people so heavily that you can't deny that end times are coming. You get me? Like, weak men are creating, terrible situations for us. And, this one small group in America is somehow controlling how we act, how we talk. It's...
What can be spoken on, what cannot be spoken on.
Exactly, bro. It's multiple groups, to tell you the truth. I'm not going to alienate one.
Yeah.
But it's multiple groups. Like, and I just think it's like, rebellion is fun, bro. Rebellion is fun. I want to do this. I want to say that. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just think that people want to stand out for that attention. You get me? That's one thing that we don't have a lot of. We don't have a lot of reassurance. We don't have a lot of love for each other. We just see hate and we judge each other, bro. And I learned that in church. We're not supposed to judge each other.
Yeah. And sometimes people in church criticize a lot.
Exactly.
A lot.
And that's the thing. One quick thing before we cut. I just want to say nobody's perfect. And that's how a Christian should be. That knowing nobody is perfect.
Facts. All right. So the way that I see that the end times are coming, there's a lot of like different things. I think first it all started off with like the pandemic. I genuinely thought that like, the end of the world is going to happen right now. Like, I see that businesses are closing. Like, everyone's like complying to the government, this and this and that. Honestly, I thought like martial law was going to be enacted and we're going to stay in our houses for like, for a really, really long time. But thankfully, that didn't happen. We're still going somewhat back to normal. But then I also noticed that things are getting worse. Like, people are becoming way more ruthless. There's a lot more shootings occurring. Like, I was just actually talking to Nick about someone who had died recently in a hotel near us, very, very near us. And I did mention that it was the girl that decapitated the guy, but it was actually the other way around.
A guy decapitated a girl?
No, I'm sorry. I think these are two different stories. I'm not entirely sure. But basically, it was like a Texas guy, a guy from Texas that was from Texas, and he's 21, and he murdered his wife, and they were only together for like 2 months. They were only newly married for like 2 months, and he decapitated the girl. And it's stuff like that just like people are becoming more ruthless. Like, people just don't care anymore, man. Like, there's no such thing as just fighting. Now it's just, I'm gonna whip out my gun and end your life, and there's no remorse. And I feel like that's like the devil working overtime. And because things like this are happening is why I feel like the end times are getting closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the devil wants to take as many souls as humanly possible. Think about it. It's like good is bad and then bad is good, right?
Yeah.
Everybody that preaches masculinity, that preaches things that are, good for society deems it as like inappropriate or like toxically, masculine, stuff like that.
Yeah. Honestly, bro, when it comes to like masculinity and all that stuff, it's true. It's true. People are honestly taking the head figuratively of masculinity, and they're just stuffing it down the water, man. Like, they're trying to drown power out, but I'm not gonna call it power exactly. I'm gonna call it power to raise a family. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we had talked about this recently as well. The nuclear family is becoming less and less common. Like, the normalization of having a father, a wife, a kid or two, is becoming less and less common, and you can see it in households. You can see it in people's mannerisms and their behaviors.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, man, like, society really needs that. In society, you need a father and a mother, or at the very least, you need a support system around you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And when you see things like that, you pity people, but at the end of the day, when it comes to that, the next thing you have to do is look for God. Look for God, look for peace. And look for the option that's less traveled nowadays, because the option that's most common is OnlyFans. The option that's most common is selling drugs.
Yeah.
The option that's most common is shooting up a school, bro. Like, people are becoming so desensitized to the world around them. And don't get me wrong, like, we're not innocent in our desensitization.
Yeah.
We still, play video games and stuff that are gory, video games where you shoot each other and stuff like that, and we watch movies with graphic violence, but at the end of the day, we were taught not to mimic those things. You get me? Not to shoot up places, not to go around consistently lusting for people, murdering people in these horror movies and stuff like that.
And I feel like that's kind of like our natural urge, right? Because our natural state is sin. right? We always
Yeah.
want to choose pleasure, the things that bring us instant gratification, whether it's, instantly gratification through maybe murder, because you feel like, yo, this guy's like just getting on my nerves, like, I want to take him out. But I feel like the things that really help us prevent us from indulging in things that don't bring glory to God is through God, right? Because God gives you the strength to abstain from those things.
Yeah.
Let's say you struggle with like pornography, or you struggle with, I don't know, maybe you like stealing, that it brings you like adrenaline and stuff like that. God is what's going to give you peace, and he's going to give you the strength to withhold from that, because it's going to be extremely difficult to restrain from that on our own.
Yeah.
Because our natural state is sin. We're always going to want to choose sin.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
And that's the thing, bro. Like, I understand that people are human, and I guess right before this new frame, before the cutoff, when I was talking about like perfection, at the end of the day, you don't have to be perfect, bro. Like, you can try your best, and I think God sees that you're trying. You get me? Yeah, he sees that you're trying to resist sin.
Yeah.
Sometimes you give into it. You get me? And as Christians, we got to recognize our own flaws. We have to recognize the flaws of others to help them out. You get what I'm saying? And in a world that we live in now currently, you can't criticize people. You can't criticize people, and this isn't judgment. This is constructive criticism even. If you told somebody, hey bro, if you ever want a gym partner, like, let me know. You get me? I'm there for you. But people will look at you and they'll go, what do you mean if I need a gym partner? No, seriously, they'll look at you and they'll be like,
yeah, I know.
What do you need? What do you mean I need a gym partner, bro? Like, what, do you think I'm fat or something? And then that's when they go off on a whole tangent.
Yeah.
But in reality, I'm looking out for you, bro.
Exactly.
Now, of course, if I was telling you like, yo, you're fat, bro, like, oh my gosh, if I told it to you in that manner, in a more joking way, like in a more like not really being constructive, with my criticism, just being more like humorous, I can understand when people take offense to that. I truly can.
Yeah.
And these people have made these new, like, I'm saying these people, but we have a different term for them. I'm not gonna state it. But these people will make words. They'll make words up like fatophobic, and it's like, listen, what do you mean fatophobic? We're not scared of fat people.
No, and not only that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, both of us follow an account that loves to indulge in like processed foods. He likes to try out like, these foods that are expired and stuff like that. Let me tell you something.
Poor guy.
When you look at the comments of that guy, rest in peace to that guy. I'm not gonna mention his name, but rest in peace to him. A lot of people like to say, oh, like, this video made me laugh. Yeah, sure, it made us laugh. Of course, it was a good video. But it's very, very rare for someone to call him out. And you know why I think people don't call out other people who indulge in bad things? It's because people are afraid of being criticized by others, right? Yeah. They themselves are afraid of someone saying, yo, let him indulge in what he wants. Like, it's his life. If he wants to be fat, like, he's fine the way he is, this and that. Like, fat people, if they don't want to exercise, they don't have to exercise. They don't have to prove themselves to nobody in society. Yeah? You know what's the result of that? That man is no longer here.
Yeah, man, he died.
You feel me? And like,
passed of a heart attack?
Yeah, he died of a heart attack.
That's crazy.
And it could be a multitude of reasons, but if you put two and two together, you look at his videos, you look at what he consumes, you look at his weight, you can definitely tell he does not live an active lifestyle. And I don't know, I feel like I wish somebody would be there to tell him, hey, listen, and not even shame him. Don't be like, yo, you're fat as hell, bro, but rather like, hey, man, because the way I said it was more from like a loving point of view. I said, hey, man, like, I really enjoy your videos, I think they're really good, but I feel like you need to work out. And that was like genuinely out of like, love for that guy. Like, I think he's a really like funny guy. But it's sad seeing someone wasting their potential, just because they want to indulge. We all want to indulge in things that are bad. But life isn't about always living in the pleasure. Life is a multitude of things. It's adversity, happiness, joy, sadness, right? You need all of them because that's what you call life. You cannot just have tunnel vision on one thing, because that's not how life works.
And that's the thing, man. Like, the people that have told me straight up, the people that go, hey, bro, you're messing up on this, man. You need to fix this. You need to get right. You're messing up with your money. You're spending your money, in a dumb way. Or, hey, bro, like, you've been eating a lot more and you're not as active and this and this and that. Or, hey, bro, like, I see that you smoke more. You smoke a lot more, bro, and you're not hanging out with us as much. Or you've devoted more time to the girls than God even. And bro, like, God forbid you say something like that to anybody. You get me? And people that tell me things like that, I'll joke with them at first, but in reality they're blessings, bro. Like, they're people that think of me and say, you know what, bro, I think Nick can be in a better position, man. Like, with where he's at and how he's struggling, I genuinely think that, and I know this is gonna sound a little crazy, that my friends and my family are like my angels, the people that care about me. You get me? And I care about them in turn. And I see them as blessings, bro. And honestly, I kind of wanted to do like a rundown of your history with God and the blessings that He's bestowed upon you. What things have you I don't want to say been given, but been graced with? What things have you needed in times of struggle, in times of hope, in times of adversity in general? Like, I see a lot of these things on the daily, even to the smallest thing. I find it a blessing when people are I guess one small example before we cut. I find it a blessing that people around me still acknowledge the small things. And it's not a major blessing, but it's something that makes me think these people remember me. These people care about me, at least to the smallest, I guess the smallest, how do I put it? The smallest bit, we'll just say that, just to keep it simple. But yeah, man, it's good to be reassured that, you still exist. People still tell you, like, how are you doing with your family?
Yeah.
How are you doing with your friends? How are you doing with school? When people say something about school, it gets a little awkward, but yeah. When they hit me with school, I'm like,
it's there.
I don't go. That's what I tell them.
And so, for me, I feel like God has blessed me a lot in life. A lot. I've been in 4 car crashes, and out of those 4, I know it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. One of those wasn't even my car. But in all 4, I, by the grace of God, have not gotten injured at all. And it's one of the biggest life lessons that I've had. Like, I drive way more cautious now. I feel like it was almost needed. It's like, it's just God, like, teaching me and disciplining me to not drive super fast, to be more cautious, to be more aware when I cross. Because I feel like sometimes people, like, let's say you want to make a left turn, and you know that the people who are walking have the right of way and stuff like that. Sometimes, like, I'll just go and, like,
you don't notice a bike.
You don't notice it because you care more about getting to your destination than worrying about another life passing.
Yeah.
But now I'm extremely aware. Like, I'm always, like, making sure there's nobody crossing, especially at night when you want to get home and you're tired from work and stuff like that.
Teaches you patience and I guess keeping your composure in a situation.
Yeah, man. And honestly, there's been a lot of things, but I think the biggest blessing that I've had is probably my grandma. Like, my grandma has helped me out tremendously. Like, shout out to my grandma. She doesn't speak English, but
Te quiero, abuela.
Someone translate for her, right? Te quiero, abuela. Anyways, she's blessed me with a car. She's helped me out with school. She's helped me out, helped me get out of, like,
challenges.
Yeah, just like challenges and adversity and stuff like that. But speaking of adversity, are there any adversities that you have faced, or you think that God, is there something that you think God is trying to teach you in life that is like, it's just trying to hammer it down so that you actually understand what it is that He wants to teach you?
Honestly, bro, I've touched on this before in the podcast. I said patience was one of them, but in reality, another thing that I feel like He wants to hammer home is the mastery of love. And at the end of the day, I don't think you can master love as a human being. I don't think you can, because nobody's perfect. You get me? Like, we all have our flaws and we all have short tempers when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a fusion at the end of the day. It's like love and patience. Like, finding patience when you're building a love, finding, I guess, resolve in a situation with time. You get me? Not trying to solve something quickly. And when it comes to loving my folks, my friends, I could still do better in that department. I feel like I can strive better for it. When it comes to a relationship, I still have much to learn, to tell you the truth. I I'm not perfect when it comes to relationships, and you know, this year, following year, it's not something that I'm actively looking for, but it would be nice to have. It would be nice to have, and you know, I think that human beings don't, since they can't master love, they don't know exactly what it is. You get me? Some people find love within multiple partners, which is disgusting in my opinion. Some people find love within the same sex. That's a very controversial topic we might touch on in another episode of the podcast. You know, as Christians, our viewpoint of that isn't very aligned, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, we still respect those people. We still love them.
100%. Because God loves them.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel me? So who are we to say, oh, you know, like we hate you or God hates you? Because that's not the truth. You know, the Bible clearly states that God hates the sin, not the sinner.
Yeah.
You know, we're all God's people at the end of the day, bro. And we all make mistakes. Just because someone, you know, might be a lesbian, that doesn't make them any different if I'm a compulsive liar. And the eyes of God, we're both equal sinners, you know? So, you know, it's fine. It is what it is. At the end of the day, we just got to treat everybody with respect, just like, you know, God will and stuff like that. But, yeah, continue as you were saying.
And, you know, God has hammered that message through my head very, very firm. In a sense that, you know, I've had failed relationships just like any other man. I've had failed experiences with love just like any other man. And, you know, it teaches me a lot. And I'm pretty sure I can at least get a little bit of how do I put it, similarity, or I guess the audience might be able to feel for me, because they've been through relationships where they always learn. If you exit a relationship and you didn't learn a single thing, you didn't either care about the relationship, or they were only just flesh. Like, you didn't see them as a human being. You get me? You didn't actually truly love them, you know, care about them to the highest extent. And I think that's across every type of relationship, to tell you the truth. That's across friends, family, and lovers. And, you know, when it comes to friends and family, I learn the most through my friends, through my families, through the stories that they tell me and the things that they've been through and stuff like that. You know, instead of me having to go through a trial and error, I have my friends, and once again my folks, telling me, hey, they're telling me, hey, you know, try to be cautious of this, because this happened to me before. Like recently, I wanted to get a motorcycle. I still kind of do, to tell you the truth. I really want a motorcycle, but my uncle, he tells me, bro, to tell you the truth, I don't think you should, because it's extremely dangerous. And I'm like, it's not that dangerous, bro. Like, it's just riding on a bike, and I'll go slow and this and that. But he's told me stories of his friends that have crashed. My grandpa, he has 2 funny stories. You know, they're funny because he's still here, thankfully. But he told me 2 stories where he had crashed and went over, like, I guess a guardrail, and he fell into a tree in Nicaragua. He told me a story where he hit the back of a car and he flew over the car. He didn't, you know, make instant impact into the car, but he flew over the car, and all he got was a scar in his eye, small scar, a few bruises here and there, and his shoe was like another part of the street. It was funny.
Jesus.
But yeah, bro, he teaches me things through stories like that, because that's what family does. Family helps out like that.
Oh, 100%. I think for me, like, I feel like there's a lot of things that God is trying to teach me, and there's a lot of adversity. I would say definitely patience is, like you said, is for me. But like for me though, it's probably like the number one thing he's trying to teach me. Whether it's this podcast, you know, we definitely deal with a lot of things that are inconveniences.
Yeah. And
Jordan is definitely a blessing by, you know, how we spoke about, like, there were problems that were occurring, you know, with the wind that was affecting the quality of the podcast. Or we tried using a good camera, but our faces came out blurry.
Yeah.
But, you know, God is trying to teach us to be resourceful and to not complain and to push through adversity, you know.
To be steadfast in our intention.
Yeah, and kind of like to show him how badly we really want things sometimes in life. And also, like, at my job, you know, I do retail and stuff like that. And a lot of patience is required because you deal with a lot of stupid customers. A lot. But in my eyes, yeah, sure, I might see them as like dumb or whatever, but at the end of the day, those are God's people. Maybe they were put there in my life for a specific reason, to try to teach me, you know, patience.
Yeah.
Because I might think they're dumb, but how does God view me? I'm not perfect. I'm someone who's constantly sins. And I'm not saying God sees me as dumb, but I'm not, I'm not perfect. I'm just an average Joe who makes mistakes just like everybody else. But yeah.
Bro, truth be told, like, I also deal with people in my job. I don't work retail. I work kind of with fire alarms at the moment. And to tell you the truth, we have to go inside people's houses. We have to go inside people's houses and we have to put alarms. I guess, for better terms in people that know it out there, horns. We have to put horns in their houses so that if in case of a fire, the horns activate all throughout every apartment, I guess, room. And there are people that ask me multiple questions like, can I put it here? Can I put it there? Oh, don't get anything dirty or whatever. And then there are people that are genuinely nice. They go, you know what? Look, like, all I want is just, try to keep it clean. I'll clean up the mess afterwards. You want something to drink? Hey, like, how's your day been? Like, sometimes people are genuine like that.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a balance, bro. I think it's a balance when it comes to meeting new people, because there's people that are jerks. There are people that that honestly don't deserve to even be spoken to sometimes. But there are also people that have good intention, people that are having a good day that want to pass that good day on to you. It's like an infectious thing. And I honestly think that when it comes to that, you got to pass it on to the next person. You got to help out the next person, open a door for somebody or some shit. But yeah, like, I don't find like a way to hate people. I honestly try to find a way to understand people more.
Be more empathetic.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could be having a really shitty day, and so it makes sense that somebody comes up to you and is like, hey, do you have this on this size? Or hey, do you have this? And you go, no, you could just check the website or something. Like, you tell them that, like, in a rude way.
Yeah.
Then of course they're gonna respond to you in a rude way and tell you, I don't want to check the website, I want you to check now. And then, like, it kind of boils over to something huge.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
So it's like, when people do that, sometimes I like to pull back and I like to admit my mistake. I go, you know what, look, I'm sorry, I'm going through some stuff. I didn't mean to say it like that. All right. And I guess this is my way of blowing steam, and I didn't mean to offend you. And it's rare that I do that, because I try to catch myself before, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, before I say things like that.
Yeah, just being self-aware.
Exactly, yeah. And at the end of the day, human beings are going to be human beings, and I think that we just need to be more understanding of each other. And you could say it's ironic from what we talked about before, how these people are making new terms and stuff like that, and they want to be accepted and have attention.
Yeah.
But that's not the way that you're supposed to do it. That's not the sane way, because at the end of the day, that's going to yield bad results. And yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. So that's going to be it for today, guys. We're glad that you joined us. We're thankful for those of you watching, those of you that comment, those of you that like, subscribe. We're going to bring you even more and more content. This is a promise. We're very, very steady with our recording. Very hopeful for the future. We want to get more guests on. Our future guest for the next episode, just a little bit of a teaser, is a therapist. And she deals a lot with human emotion. She's been a friend for a solid minute. And we're eager for you guys to hear our conversation with her and get to know her better. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Junkyard. I'm your host, Nicholas. And next to me, my co-host,
your boy E-Man, aka KMF Lifestyle.
And we just want to say have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.
Deuces.